Oh my goodness. Seriously, I have to just do it. It's like I can tell myself I don't have to think about things that don't matter.
I was designed to do those things. How the hell does this guy know this about me?
It's impossible to not see.
When Dan read for my sister, she was like, he's psychic. She's like, how does he know that?
Yes.
She's like, it's human design, guys. Like, it's just a testimony of how legit it is.
Seriously, Danny was like FBI or CIA. He's like, how the hell does this guy know this about me?
Having my chart read, there were just thing after thing after thing that I was just like, wow, that's me.
This man is reading me and I've never met him before.
I was in the midst of one of the biggest emotional waves I've ever been in my life, and he saved my life.
It seems like everybody has the same reaction. It's that aha moment, and they want to find out more.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Human Design Advantage podcast, our Wednesday night edition. My name is Jen, and decoding the matrix for us is Danny Guru. Hello, Dan.
Jen, it's awesome to be here.
It's awesome to be here, too. I am interested to know about our chart tonight.
We're interested, are we?
Yes, I can't say I'm excited about who we're going over because I can't stand the man, but I am really enjoying these Wednesday night shows because it's giving us a deeper look at these world stage players. And like we keep saying, we're seeing a constant theme that, again, open head center. So,
yep. We're seeing the same theme over and over again. And then we're seeing this hijacking that just seems to take place. And you know what we're seeing? We're seeing a theme of the stuff that's in their body graph of where they could be hijacked, coincidentally seems to be about what they're playing out in the world. Where, you know, early on we kept questioning, they must know some of this information. Team Elite must have some of this data. They've
got to know. But before we do dive into tonight's episode, which is about Dr. Anthony Fauci, before we get started, guys, you know what to do. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and follow the show. Definitely looking at numbers behind the scene, and we are so grateful for everybody who's been watching, liking, subscribing, and sharing this information out because that's why we do this, is to help you. We want to liberate the individual and get people to awaken to who they truly are. Right. Awaken to your own human design and come find out exactly how you're made. What is your life force? How is it you're going to operate? And how is it where you sort of go wrong? I mean, that's what we look into with these people on this stage, is where they go right and where they go wrong. Have you noticed the people we like live out live out portions of their design, and the people that we don't like clearly have gone off the rails? Yes. I mean, that's worth noting. You know, just deep down inside, it's just it's a thing that you can't miss. And you want to recap a little bit of last week? Last week's we went over Justin Trudeau. No, not last week's Sunday's episode. Yes, I was actually about to dive into that because I wanted our viewers to know if you are new to human design, or not even new, but you really want to get a deeper, how do I say this? Like, you want to witness the experiment yourself. We did an awesome show on Sunday, and it was about the nodal shift that's coming up on July 30th. I have it written down, which would be 3:48 your time, Dan. 2:48 Eastern Standard Time. 3:48 and 55 seconds. 50 down to the seconds. So because at 3:48 even, you'll be sitting there, okay, and it'll take a whole. You know how short our attention span is. 30 seconds later might feel like an eternity to someone. Oh, nothing happened. Yeah, right. You never know. But yes, you want to give a small recap on what people could expect, and please, guys, make sure to go watch the Sunday's episode. It's already linked in the description. It was really good. Sunday's episode was really good, and what we're coming up in is, so we've gone over this. I've gone over the wheel. We're always moving through the various gates on the wheel, and other things move. In this case, the nodes of the moon are going to shift out of
the channel of structuring, which has us all talking furiously, literally furiously. It connects the head to the ajna, and what it does is it pours out people's unique insights into an explanation. So when this life force is present on the planet, suddenly everyone's able to get their explanations out more. Whatever they can get their explanations out in the past, double that, triple that. Doesn't mean everyone gets every explanation out. It just means more, a lot more. So it causes us to talk. So if you're out in a place, and if you can be out somewhere, especially if you take film footage and send it into us, and you're out anywhere, it can be out in public, out at a park, it could be wherever there's a gathering, in a cafe, in a coffee shop, doesn't matter. You will see the people busy with their talkative energy, and it will suddenly leave them for a moment in time. And you'll be able to realize, wow, anyone else watching this is seeing the exact same thing, and we know exactly why. The talkative life force on the planet that's making us do this is leaving the skies, leaving its imprinting upon us, and in will come something else. It'll shift, and you'll notice it.
Yeah, we've got it's like the upper advantage that we know what's going on, even if you are self-aware and you don't know what's going on up in the heavens and you witness that. I'm pretty sure you'll say internally, what was that? What was
that? Right. And now you can be like, oh, so the planets are affecting us, like literally, and it's immeasurable, and we can name it. And in this case, the channel of structuring, a design of either a genius or a freak, because you can't explain yourself, or you can, is explaining and talking with all the throat energy in the world, and it's trying to say stuff. And when it leaves, people will be like, what was I just saying?
I'm definitely going to watch that.
Yeah, we all got to find.
I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'll probably go have lunch on a patio or something.
We all have to find our little perch and see what happens.
Yes, absolutely. Well, definitely, guys, I already put that link to Sunday's show in the description, so please make sure to check that out. All right, Dan, do you want to give a little introduction?
Who are we doing tonight? Oh, Tony Fauci. Yes. What did I call him? I forgot what I called him on. I had a name that we couldn't go with in the title, but
no, we would have gotten us taken down for sure.
Yeah. I was wondering actually if you could have put a little mustache on him, a little black mustache, like a little Hitler mustache, because
I could have, but that probably would have gotten us.
I like to refer to Tony as little Hitler. He can't help himself. He wants to be the big man always, and we've got his design up, and it's really clear from his design. Where is it he got taken off track? Again, Tony was born perfect. You know what I mean? There are no bad designs.
No,
what there is being hijacked through greed and power and everything that has nothing to do with communion. Yes. So acting out all the openness and the stuff that he is not. This man has got one saving grace in one spot because it's in his design for his own self. He goes ahead and just stops listening. He could care less. He actually is not hearing what people are saying. He's designed to be essentially deaf from the influence of others.
Interesting.
Nobody is ever totally deaf. It's not the point. But generally speaking, to be generally, deaf to what I'm not listening to that. No. We're going forward with this. And so we're going to dig into the design of one infamous Anthony, a little Adolf Fauci, and not big Adolf, little Adolf. And they were both little. And we're going to dig into what's taken this man so far astray and what we can expect from him. And where are his soft spots? Let's open up that little underbelly of Mr. Tony.
Definitely going to do that. We've got Antoinette joining us tonight.
Cut the crap, hey, Nat. So there he is.
Little Hitler.
Little Hitler. We need a mustache. And he actually looks like him. Sieg Heil.
Yes.
Chief medical liar for the president of the United States.
Definitely.
So, liar. Like Justin Trudeau, another Christmas baby, December 24th.
Yes, I pointed that out.
And Christmas. Just like the other one, another manifesting generator. So Here we have a manifesting generator loaded with all kinds of openness on the underside of the body graph. And again, an open head center. So, but first I want to get to his definition. It's his definition that really puts Tony in the right spot for the people that love to pull the levers of power. So they're always going to be willing to pay him, and he just sits back and lets them. So digging into his body graph, first thing we see, that's a 5-1 profile. So we already know all fifth lines attract society. So what has Tony done? He has attracted society.
God, yes.
All fifth lines attract society. They are attractive by nature. They have a role in them that seeks, quote, attractiveness.
It just hit me, he's definitely playing the 5-1, and that 5-1 is going to come back and really kick him in the ass.
Yeah, quite a bit in a lot of different ways, only because he hasn't investigated the foundation of tomorrow. He's got investigated his current foundation, and he's terribly insecure about losing it. So that's one of the things that if you're going to hijack this person, let's get somebody in this position who's going to be afraid to lose what they have. And because he has an open head center, it's what he thinks he has. It's not actually his joy. It's not the love of his spirit. It's not the desire for communion with regular people. It's none of these things. It's not his love moving in the right direction. These are the things that make physical human bodies healthy, period.
Mm-hmm.
So none of those things, that's not what's really happening with Tony. He's basically chasing the fear of what his masters tell him he has to do, and the stupid ideas that he had that were all about this thing in the first place. The money, basically.
Yes.
All the money and the royalties that come in from all of this stuff are stuff that he's never had to disclose. When they required a FOIA request of the man, he still didn't disclose it. The agency disclosed what the agency did and didn't name who got what. But they did disclose some $300 and something million.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But they said they wouldn't say who got how much of it and who got what.
I wonder if they ever will.
Ultimately, yeah. Courts will order these things because they're public servants. If you want to go into public life, you're subject to FOIA, Freedom of Information Act.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing they like about Tony, look at his arrows. They're all strategic except for one. Tony's Mr. Strategic. He keeps his eye on the ball. It's one thing.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's identified with his work. His work defines him. When all your arrows are pointing to the left, mostly, it's okay. You have to love what you do for work. And the thing is, if you let your work define you, you find yourself being in a place you don't necessarily want to be. Tony is very much on a hot seat he doesn't really feel like being on. Look at all of his openness. He's got an open head center, so he's constantly under pressure to think about things that don't matter, too many things. All those emails that were going back and forth in the beginning when they were like trying to cover up the fact that this thing was cooked up in a lab. Hey, we're going to need to talk. Hey, you better get a hold of me. Hey, we got to debunk ivermectin. Hey, we got to debunk the other, hydroxychloroquine. Hey, we got to do this. We got to make everything go away except the vaccine. Well, he was under a great deal of pressure to get that done. Infinite generative power to do that. And all of this openness, which fears the repercussions if he doesn't. So open root center, constantly that's the bottom one, the box at the very bottom, the adrenals of the body. So he's constantly under pressure and in a hurry to get rid of the pressure. So as soon as something comes along, let me dispel that right away. He's always in a hurry. So he's a good dog. So the trillionaires are saying, good dog, Tony. Thank you for being in a hurry. But that's not his pressure. I think yeah. By the way, I saw a picture of him from just 2.5 years ago, and he still had dark in his hair. He wasn't fully gray like he is now.
Well, I bet you, I'm surprised if he still has hair after all of this. I'll be surprised.
Well, everyone loses at a different rate, but it went gray, just like all the presidents.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So he's got an open solar plex center. So the one thing he doesn't like is confrontation and truth. So what does Tony do the least of? The least of is go on anything that where they won't ask him softball questions. If you've noticed, all reporting that he is on, they ask him questions he can answer, or he can bullshit his way through. One of the two.
Yeah.
He doesn't even allow himself to get there. Open ego center. So this man is literally concerning himself with that. Does he prove it? Is he proving himself? Is he worthy enough? I better try harder. I better say yes to this. Oh, the billionaires want me to do this and they're going to pay me. Okay, I'll do it. So more and more, Tony just keeps getting ratcheted into this position where the more he gets in, the more he's unworthy if he gets out. The more he starts with AIDS. So listen, at the AIDS crisis, when all that stuff was going on, he had some Dr. Evil, wicked ideas, and he experimented with some things. So that's all come out. We sort of know this. And at that moment, had he had this change of heart and grown up or whatever, he could have potentially gotten past some of that and come back out as just a regular human. But nope. The more this man goes in, the more he has to prove he can stay there, prove he can hold on to it, prove he knows. He always has to prove he knows.
Yeah.
So is the science?
He's always got something to prove, or he's always trying to prove something.
Yep. And so then we put these things together. Or the open spleen. Look at all that action off of the spleen on the left, the far left, where you see 3 gates pointing down and 1 pointing up. So Tony Fauci is terribly concerned about his feelings of rejection and inadequacy. This is the definition of the feeling of inadequacy. How does he let it get to his head? He doesn't. People paid him enough money to not have to really think too much about it, except when he's called out on questions he can't answer. As soon as that stuff comes up, is he adequate enough to stay out of jail? Is he adequate enough to survive the Senate testimony hearings? He just had to sit there in his nervousness. I wouldn't be surprised if he took a pill before some of those things or something to quell his nerves, or had a couple shots or something, because that was not easy and he did not feel safe there. This is a man who clings to things that aren't good for him in order to feel safe. Hey, Tony, we want to turn you into a murderer. Okay, well, now that I've done it, I need to cling to it or I won't feel safe. I need to hold on to the things that aren't good for me. That's what's going on in Tony's head. So he holds on to the ideas. Oh, no, I just said it this way. And he holds on to the shots are going to be good. They're going to be good. They're going to be good. He holds on to, I'm right. The science is settled. He holds on to these ideas, and none of which are good for him. He's a scientist. Science is never settled.
Exactly. Science is never settled.
No, it's never. Essentially, that's the very definition. Science is always the progress of discovery into the future. How is that anything resembling settled? I mean, that's what science is, the progress of stuff moving into the future. So there's one particular gate. Well, I'm going to rattle off the fear gates of this spleen because they show.
Looking, he's got a lot.
He's got a lot. The fear of inadequacy, the fear of failure, the fear of challenge and authority. So what does he do? He does whatever it takes to have himself be the authority so no one can question him. And what kind of job has he done in that position? He's done a shitty job. He has sucked at it. We have questioned the crap out of him, and now almost all of America knows he's full of shit. He's a liar. So fear of the challenge of others. But that one in the middle, gate 28, it stood out like a sore thumb. It's black, so he's aware of it. It's on the conscious side of his body graph, so he's aware of the black lines. And as you recall, if you might recall, we're unaware of the red lines. They show up out of a tunnel, and the black lines show up. We're aware of them. We live with them. That's the personality side. So gate 28 is about the fear of death. Hey, let's do some unethical things so I can avoid death. And it's not just death of the actual body itself, although that is primal in this thing. That is a primal fear in this. It's a slightly lot, because don't forget, we evolved into communion. So it's a little bit loftier than just the fear of my body's death. It's the fear of my body's death without having found a purpose in life, without having accomplished a purpose in life. What is my purpose? So a fear of death without a purpose. And if you look on his body graph, gate 28, line 5, do you see where it is on the right-hand side?
Gate 28, yes. It's in his moon.
Moon. The moon is that which drives us, Jen. The moon
I
is
was going to say, is that what rules the subconscious?
well, it rules the conscious and the subconscious because it's on both sides. It's the focus and the drive of our conscious and our subconscious. We're driven to do these things. It's where we want to push into. It's the drive. That's the keynote. He is driven to be a game player. He's driven to play games. Period. I'm going to read this to you. Treachery. That's the line. You can thank the I Ching. You can thank the old Chinese I Ching guys for that. Yep. Treachery. It's the abuse of trust. It doesn't mean people with gate 28 line 5 have the abuse of trust. It means they're here learning what is abuse of trust. Unless you're living out who you are not. In that moment, you learn to take risks by abusing trust. So whatever Tony cares about, he's going to use the abuse of trust to get it. Whatever Tony cares about, he will use abuse of trust to get it. The abuse of trust, the capacity of the game player, to provoke struggle amongst others, or the capacity of the game player to provoke struggle and destabilize others. So in one capacity, hey, it's okay to provoke struggle, right? Jen, we do it. Lovers do it. They provoke the struggle of the relationship. We are provoking each other's spirit. On a mundane plane, there's nothing wrong with that until you're doing it to put others at odds with each other. The gate of the game player, gate 28, is here helping to witness the provocation of purpose. What is the fight I'm going to put into finding this purpose? What level of fight will I put? And if I can't find the purpose, guess what the game player does? The game player, just like a gambler, ups the ante on the risk level. Okay, I was in for 10, now I'm in for 200. Oh, that didn't work, I'm in for 2,000. And soon the missus is coming over. Honey, don't bet the farm. Yep, I'm laying the farm down. What risk will the gambler take? The AIDS thing didn't work out. Maybe it'll work out with MRSA. Maybe it'll work out with SARS. Oh, SARS didn't all work out. Maybe it'll work out with bird flu. Maybe monkeypox. Oh, maybe it'll work out with these mRNA injections. The man is driven to find out what risk can he take, to find out what he cares for will in fact happen. I care about making more injections and proving I'm the smartest guy in the world. Now all is open centers. I'm under pressure to prove I'm so smart and I'm so good and I can answer all the questions, open head, and holding on to the ideas that I need to prove that this will work out. Maybe bird flu will do it. Maybe this time Corona will do it. Maybe that'll prove how good I am. They hijacked the right guy with this guy. Now, dumb luck landed him in the right place at the right time. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't his brilliance or anything that landed him in the right place at the right time to be this government icon that he is now. That was just the sake of timing and trajectory. That wasn't anything, you know. He didn't.
Do you know how he ended up being? I don't know.
He went to the right schools. He had the right college classmates. He did pick up a government job. And when AIDS broke out, apparently he happened to be working on something. Oh. As AIDS was breaking out, he was also coincidentally working on something that put him a bit in the forefront of all of that.
What, do we know what college you went to?
Some dumb college where they indoctrinate people and are all woke losers.
I'm just wondering if it was if he is.
I should take that back. They're not all woke losers. Many of them will be college professors that care a great deal, and I should actually take that back. So, but there'll be some woke losers there that can bite me. That's for sure. Well, they're in a college, man. College has been taken over. It's not their fault.
The whole, not that there's anything wrong with learning, guys, but there's indoctrination, and y'all need to educate yourselves on that too. So, all the knowledge that you are seeking and every answer that you are seeking in life resides inside of you.
It sure does. Absolutely. And get to know the energy that moves you forward, and you'll get to see exactly how your experiment, your strategy, and your authority are going to bring you there.
Yes.
It's always the same. Do you have any questions about, I kept keynoting the open centers. That's what I was doing most of.
No, I mean, he has a lot, and everything that you're saying pretty much describes him, and also is very dangerous in the position that he is in, because it in some way, It's
He's
kind of like
extra dangerous. Yeah.
it's like a science experiment to him. Like, he's going so far just to prove what he wants to prove.
Yep. It's a fact. And he does so generously. It's basically
people, human beings.
Well, look off of his sacral center. Let's look at some of his definition and see what is this, because he's a low powerhouse. He's a generator. He doesn't have to go to bed at any particular time. Yeah, he's got limitless energy between when he's awake to when he falls asleep. All generators have that. And
God, I wish I knew what that was like.
Well, if he's using up his energy all day and he's essentially satisfied with himself mostly, then he probably does sleep pretty well most of the time. I know a lot of people are rolling their eyes right now. I don't blame you, but let's look at this definition as to why I say that.
Like, how can you sleep well?
Well, you're made how you're made. What to say? So his definition, the sacral center has 2 gates coming off of it, but the one that empowers him is gate 34 off the red sacral. That's the power of the great. See that there?
Mm-hmm.
And gate 34, line 5 is about annihilation. So he's got this sustained sacral energy to annihilate opposing forces, and when order is restored, to return some kind of a balance. That's what Tony's good at. Helping to annihilate things. And that's connected to gate 10. And gate 10's in the 5th line, the heretic. Tony will either produce a heresy or people will see him as a hero. And what current role is he living out right now, Jen? He's living out the hero to some and the heretic to others.
Yes. That's why I was, when I saw the 5-1, he is playing that role out. And I also know what the other side of that is too. When things come out, he's gonna really, like, you want to talk about anybody with the pitchforks and stuff, this guy is gonna have to go fucking
when things
hide.
actually start coming out, this man will physically run and hide. Period.
He's gonna have to, because of his 5-1. They're gonna go above and beyond.
Right. So he's already worked out his own get out of jail free cards. That's for sure. However that looks, or he thinks he has, because don't forget, he's a pawn. And when the elite are done with him, he's disposable. Think about why these guys at 81 and 82, and how old is what's her name, Nancy Pelosi, 83 or so. How into their 80s is it that they are literally trying to hound down the same job? A, it's keeping them alive. And B, they know the second they're out of this job, they're at the mercy of certain other forces. So they better be old enough to where nobody cares. They sort of have to keep at this job, or else this man might face certain prosecutions for lying to Senator Ron Paul or any of those guys, lying to the Senate subcommittees, and just all the stuff that has taken place. But this channel, 3410, that's the channel of it's in the centering circuit. It's all about being fully centered, self-centered. This is the channel of exploration. And connected to gate 10, it's the exploration of the inner self. He's exploring his own self. So Tony's lost in his own little mind, exploring what he's going to do next. This is for me. I'm this. I. All the while, that 5th line transpersonal profile line is transpersonally projecting outward and receiving and calling in the projection of others that what his I is. So I figured out how to do this aid stuff, and I got hired into the government, and now all these years later, I'm still an icon here. I figured out how to get to and I will take any risk, including Wuhan lab leaks, in order to get to the next viral gene thing that we can prove is going to go ahead and affect the next viral outbreak. I will take any risk to do that, because not only am I a powerful gate 34, I got a gate 27. I got to care about it. Everything I care about is part of how I'm going to center my own convictions. As a kid, that's perfect. He cares about digging holes. He cares about riding his bike. He cares about making friends. But he got conditioned away from all of that. And
so
now
he cares about what he's doing.
He cares about what he's doing, but more he cares about his own hide. When in the beginning, when all this stuff was going on, I'm certain he cared about taking another risk to make sure he could fund that Eco Health Alliance place and go ahead and get this gain of function research going and all of that. No doubt of all of that. And he thought it was worth the risk because that's what he cared for. But now he just cared about his hide because he's seeing it wasn't worth the risk. He's already come out and admitted, well, they don't work so good exactly, basically, as what we would have hoped. Yeah, no kidding, Tony. A bunch of people that didn't take your stupid shot knew that from day one. How's that? And you got all the degrees and the teams of people, and you don't even comb through the data, you piece of crap. You know, so because he doesn't want to know. The following of your own.
I mean, I even, you know, you mentioned the HIV and the AIDS, and what keeps going through my mind is that, you know, these illnesses, they're created. They create them. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he was in on the creation of releasing this out to step in to be a doctor. They create
wouldn't
the
at all
problem
be
to offer
surprised.
the solution.
It fits the model of the treachery of the game player who is not self.
Yes.
Period.
Create the problem, offer the solution.
Rather than the recognition of the purpose outside of the need for the risk of treachery. That's the awake being. That's not Tony. Tony's never woke up in a day in his life. He's been too busy under pressure trying to prove he's worthy, avoiding confrontation and truth, holding on to things that aren't good for him, and having all of those things be piles of stuff that doesn't matter. That's Tony's not self. It's a wonderful not self, Tony. It's nice to meet you, buddy. And it's got all this sacral power to be fully self-centered. No, don't tell me. I'm not listening. Look, he's got the gate channel of structuring above. These are the nodes that are in the sky right now. So that channel 2343 that goes from the throat to the ajna.
Yeah.
And look at all that ajna stuff he's got going on. So all this
I noticed that. He's got a lot going on up there.
He's a conceptualizing magnet who speaks like the Casanova, fifth line attractiveness, out his insights with the ability to assimilate them into an explanation, and it's conscious in him. He's aware of this. So all he has to do is shine up what is it he investigated, and to any board, he'll sound very competent and aware, spitting out his very complex, complicated descriptions of what the heck was going on. But underneath it all, he just wants to have his own thing be his way because that's the gambling risk he wants to take. And as soon as this world showed him what money means, that's all he would have been after. Money and power. Money and power. I think that'll fill up my grinchly, wicked, 3 times too small heart. And it won't.
That's how they get them, is the money and power.
Money and power, right.
And look, all evil.
Let's look at some of the unconscious definition in him. So he's busy. And one last thing about the channel of structuring, the design of a genius to freak or freak to genius is the keynote. If you can explain it, then you're really smart. If you can't explain it, people think you're odd and they don't listen. That channel is in the individual circuitry like the one coming off the sacral. It's all individual. Individuals are deaf to the other. Individuals.
What channel was that?
4323. It's the black channel connecting the ajna to the throat. Yeah, 43 coming off the bottom of the green.
Yeah, I see it. It's right here.
Yep, right there. It's a little guy. Like Tony, little guy. None of this helps that he's got little man syndrome. Have you ever seen him next to other people?
No, I have not, but he looks like a short fella.
Yeah, he's maybe as tall as Tom Cruise, if even. He's about 5 foot, 5'1".
Oh my God, yeah, like I did not know that Tom Cruise was that short.
Yeah, Tom Cruise, little itty bitty guy.
Yeah, it's like.
Again, I don't see what the problem with that is. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that, but it's Hollywood. Again, it's just the perception that they give of him. If he is that small, be an actor and play that small. Be a badass action person that short. Show other short people that you can do it, but don't portray that you're this tall person and then, you know, people see pictures of you standing on top of
Tony always feels inadequate about his size and his height, makes him think about things that don't matter and try to prove his worthiness while avoiding anyone trying to build a confrontation. And he's under pressure on all of this. But all that individual definition. So he's got 3 channels defined in his body graph. 2 of them are strictly individual definition. So that's deaf to the other. It's self-centered. It doesn't want to hear the influence of the other. It simply wants to spit out its own unique thing. And for Tony, that unique thing is that which he cares about, that he can take a risk on, because he's driven to take a risk about the stuff he wishes to challenge and the opinions he wishes to broadcast. That's his way. That's Tony's way. But there's this one channel in there. Look at the channel that goes between the G center and the throat center.
This one?
The channel of the alpha. But it's not the alpha in the old 7-centered way, which would have been the guy that was the strongest that would kill you. This is the collective alpha. Or like in a pack of dogs, physically the biggest, strongest dog is the alpha.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's fine for dogs. For humans, the alpha is collective business. That's logical, collective understanding circuitry. And what's the collective circuitry keynoted with? Do you remember? It's sharing.
Yeah.
The collective must share its treacherous ideas. Here's
That's why
Tony.
he's chief medical liar.
Yes, here's Tony. And look at, most of it's unconscious in him. This is the only unconscious definition he has. So unbeknownst to Tony, he wishes to gate 7 be the authority and the authoritarian and the leader that gets elected into the positions of leadership, where he can gate 31 be nothing but influential. That feeds him. If anyone cockblocks Tony, he's not influential. No good. So he'll do anything to be influential. And guess what? He doesn't even know that about himself fully. It comes out of a tunnel. What comes out of a tunnel? His not self that rolls up his sleeves and works extra hard to prove he's so influential so he can avoid any confrontations of not being. He holds on to the thing that's not good for him. The thing that he thinks he needs to be influential all the time. He's a general after all. He's got 5th line. He only needs to be influential during practical times. And here he is remaining influential all the time. So everyone has to come to him to give up their grant money, to get their grant money, to keep their college going. They all have to pass through Sir Adolf, a freaking Tony Fauci, Hitler, in order to get their funding, to get their grants. If Tony don't like it, you don't get it. Tony is now responsible for half of the culture on our college campuses when it comes to their scientific grants. That's no joke, Jen. That's some serious business. And unconsciously out of him, let me share my influential need for leadership with you. How am I going to share that? By extorting you, by holding you down.
Yeah.
Why? Yeah, why? Because I'm concerned about my own future and I need to prove this thing. I need to take a risk. It's you know what? The ends justified the means, so I held you down. You'll be okay. Look at all the money I gave you. This man avoids every confrontation. As soon as he chooses not to give someone the money, Pope Fauci runs off onto the farm and lets his little minions deal with the why. You don't think he does not answer those questions if he chooses to give the funding? No, he avoids that like the plague. That would be a confrontation to him.
Of course.
Yeah, he would have to realize that he lies to himself. So that's what's unconscious in him, along with gate 48 on the left-hand side. Unconsciously, out of nowhere comes this deep fear of inadequacy. Gate 48 off the top of the spleen, the white open spleen. It's red, gate number 48 pointing towards the throat.
Yes.
Right there. Yep. And that thing has got a fear of inadequacy. It just becomes afraid. It's just afraid that it doesn't have the skills and the talent, so it lies. It thinks that is real, and so it lies. Let me overcompensate for my adequacy. I always knew it wasn't going to work great. We had to do it that way because I'll say some stuff, and I'll make sure only the right reporters ask me the right questions because that's practical, and because he fears the confrontation of anything that will ask him the wrong question. He won't go there. I guarantee you he's got a list of places he will not go no matter what. Guarantee you.
Yeah. Oh, I bet he does.
Yeah, that invoke fear of.
He learned a lot with that 5-1 profile on what you know.
Yep. And the next unconscious thing that's in his body graph that sort of stands out is his gate 21, again on an open center. So intermittently, Tony, out of nowhere, gets angry because he's not in control. And because he receives this intermittently his whole lifetime long, he thinks that's actually a thing. So every time he gets angry because he doesn't in the right kind of control, or his control is threatened, or anything dealing with the control of the environment he's in, he thinks that he's supposed to be that way, and he becomes willful. But he's got an open ego. He's actually got nothing to prove. So what does Lord Fauci do? He tries to prove everything. Listen, if they're not following me, they're not following the science. Yes. So he gets angry when he's not in control quickly.
And you can see that sometimes come through.
Yep. But then again, you know.
So I have a question on that. With this, you know, since he's a generator and they normally, does it come through as frustration and then anger?
Frustration and anger. Manifesting generators, first it starts out as frustration and quickly moves to anger depending on how deep the frustration was.
Okay.
Quickly, it'll move to sharp anger, but because they're a generator and are responding all the time, the anger doesn't stay. They don't have profusely consistent anger, generally speaking. If you're a manifesting generator like this with no emotional definition, and therefore your sacral is your authority, then you know the anger can't stay. You can't keep it up for very long.
But I'm wondering because I'm paying attention to my anger burst.
Yeah, well, with an emotional definition, sometimes it'll last a little longer because you've got to go through a wave to get to the clarity.
And he's not emotional.
He's not even paying attention to it. As soon as he's angry, all he wants to do is avoid the confrontation. That's at the other end of it. When he's angry, he probably makes.
Oh my God, that's gotta be hell.
That's gotta be hell.
I mean, I'm angry, but I don't want the backlash of it.
On the other end of it. So what does he do?
Well, then he probably suppresses that anger a lot sometimes.
Well, he's got a very powerful position. He probably picks up the phone and makes a phone call, and has other people do his dirty work, clean up his messes. Yep. Most messes for him are administrative and lies, so he has other people clean it up.
Of course he does.
Yeah. So.
He's going to run and hide when the mob comes after his ass.
He's always surprised at what stresses actually do come at him. His root center is completely open, so he doesn't even know what the pressure field is until he's totally on top of it. He doesn't have any activations in his root center, so he doesn't have a theme of stress in that way. So as soon as he's put in a stressful situation, he sounds like basically the guy who was testifying to Senator Paul that day when he was saying, you have no idea what you're talking about. And he was all frustrated and he was getting angry and you could see it written all over his face. This man has to guard his energy so he's not put in places where he has to prove anything he can't prove, because he'll run into questions he doesn't know the answer to.
Of course, because people are going to be looking at him to be asking those questions.
Right.
He's already put on the world that come ask me these questions.
He's literally right there in a spot where ultimately he'll be asked questions because his profile guarantees it. And the last thing I wanted to go through is this incarnation cross of his. I thought I'd go ahead and look it up. This cross of prevention.
Same one again is Justin Trudeau.
Yeah. So depending on where you sit on this cross and what your level of awakeness is, it's people both positive, people who are either oppressive or liberating through the act of preventing things that aren't good for you. So here's Tony sharing his leadership because he must share it. So unconsciously, Tony must share his idea of how to prevent your things that might happen to you when he has absolutely no right to do so on such a global scale. But here he is sharing his leadership as an alpha. I'm Tony the Alpha. Sharing his leadership and his alphaness as it relates to trying to be influential about the stuff that he's going to take a risk with in order to prevent you from getting sick. Mm-hmm. Hi, let me prevent this for you. Listen, this can be a very loving act. Think of what prevention does. A lot of people prevent a lot of things, but it's gone awry. And Tony has just gone off the rails, and he's literally living that incarnation cross out, even though he's living out who he's not. We're so tightly bound to these incarnation crosses. It's amazing. We live them out, whether we're living out our body graph or not, essentially versions of it. You know, if you're on the cross of the Maya, you're living out what it is to be in and amongst the people. If you're on the cross of the vessel of love, you're living out what it is to try and love the thing you do. If you're, you know, on and on and on. So there's Tony in a nutshell, a self-centered little bastard who thinks he knows all the answers because he's got a voice that says, I know, and he gets angry if anyone challenges him because he's got a fear of challenge and a fear of inadequacy. So he holds on to the idea that he will use brute force to squelch any voice that speaks out against him. And he's totally self-centered in doing all of that. So he's not listening, and he's sharing all of that with us. Thank you very much to Anthony, you freaking jerk.
Thank you, Anthony Fauci. That was an excellent job, Dan.
That was Anthony in a nutshell. That's kind of a train wreck. It's a real bag of hammers, is what I would call it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think you hit him spot on. You know, just knowing or feeling what I know is going to be coming. We're going to see a lot of that design play out.
He's in for a rude awakening, and he's in for quite a reckoning, Jen. He really
I think on some level I'm pretty sure he's aware of that.
Yep. I'm imagining he's aware of that too.
Yeah.
He knows he took all those risks. He knows he's driven to take risks. He's the last person I want as my doctor. The last person. He's driven to take freaking risks.
Yeah. That's with people's health. That you don't know it. Yeah. Could say so much about this. Yeah. But yeah, no, you don't want to take risk with other people's health, and he's been doing that, and it's apparent. We're seeing that more. Yep. We're gonna more see that, and you know, I'm a 5-1 profile, and the more that I learn about my profile and just personal experiences, in some ways, that 5-1 profile is going to really serve justice.
Yeah. It'll be serving justice, all right.
Yes.
He'll be receiving justice and receiving the actions of his heresy at the end of the day. The forces that be picked or allowed the perfect stooge for their purposes, because he is a little powerhouse that can just keep going. And he does.
Crazy. Great job, Dan. Great job.
I had fun with that, Jen. Thanks.
Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Tune in Saturday at 3:48 and 55 seconds Eastern Standard Time. See what happens. Find a crowd. Stand there.
Antoinette's been chiming in. Yes, totally. Truth shall set us free. Thank you both for speaking clarity.
Nice. Thank you, Antoinette.
Miss Clary said jump up here. Definitely, guys. That's what we want to do here, is to make sure that you guys are knowing the truth. I can't wait to see the further that we go down the line and things come up to the surface, how we can go back and watch these episodes and see how accurate you were.
Yep.
So yeah, we are performing our own little science experiment.
Two things I've been working on, Jen, and one of them we talked about earlier. So on Sunday's show, apparently we're gonna do a live reading on somebody. We're gonna see what happens live, impromptu, in the moment.
Absolutely. We really want you guys to witness this stuff in the moment. Sorry, my Miss Aquarius is.
I let Willie out beforehand.
Well, she came in for the night, and I don't want to. Yeah.
Okay. I let Willie out for the very reason.
She's not happy. She's in for the night.
And then the following Wednesday, I had it narrowed down to, tell me what you think of these two, Candace Owens or Joe Rogan. I sort of, my heart just wants to do Candace Owens. I don't know if have you heard?
Yes, no, I like Candace Owens. So I think that we need to do hers, and I also think that we need to do Joe Rogan's, because Joe Rogan's had a defined head center, so that makes me intrigued. Yes.
So I'm waffling between those two, but Lori Bell said, hey, I'm free that following Wednesday. That meaning a week from today, so she can do the face read thing and see if we can, like we were thinking from before. We might have somebody who reads in a different way, and we'll see how these two knowledges juxtapose with each other, and so how they're going to line up.
Perfect. Let's do Joe Rogan then, and then we'll save Candace Owens.
Maybe.
Are you want to do Candace Owens?
I don't know. Just give me a minute. So
okay,
later.
Stay tuned, guys. We will give you an update on that. And then, yes, definitely make sure you go watch Sunday's episode, because Dan did an excellent job on breaking it down on what exactly is going on a scientific level. And it was very informative, kind of like a science show. But this is an opportunity for you to be out there and witness
the program
and how it is influencing us. I mean, the more that I witness, I am like, oh, holy shit. Yes. Okay. So this is really happening. So I am really excited to see, whatever it is that's going to happen on Saturday.
Yeah.
But if you watch Sunday's episode, then it'll give you a better idea on what to look for. So
feel it inside, see if you notice anything, witness it outside, be in a crowd or where there's people talking.
Yes. Thank you, Antoinette. Antoinette shared our show. Thank you so much for doing that, honey. And love you too. And thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys.
Yep, we're done.
That wraps up our show. Join us on Sunday. We're going to be doing something a little bit new where we're going to be doing readings online. If you are interested in this, it's not full readings. It's a short mini reading. It's a free one. If you're interested in this, please make sure to drop a comment down below. Send me a DM. I'll make sure to get you guys hooked up. And on the show, we are still tweaking out technical things. So I think this will be a good idea. It'll give people the opportunity to witness what it's like to have a reading and just to get to know a little bit about yourself, so that, if it's for you, you can get with Dan later on after the show and get a reading.
We'll finish it up. If I read you live on the show, I won't leave you hanging at just that. We'll get on after and finish up for real.
Yes. So definitely, I mean, we are on the mission to liberate the individual. So if you are interested in that, please let us know. And as always, like, subscribe, and follow the show. And we hope you have a wonderful evening.
Rock on. Take it easy, everyone.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you later. Bye now.